Chosen one, what is coming toward you will not send a text. It will not knock twice. It will not politely introduce itself. It will simply arrive. And when it does, your whole life will divide into two chapters, before and after. Right now, in this exact moment, something is already moving in your direction. Not rushing, not announcing, moving with purpose. Like footsteps in a long hallway you cannot see yet, but feel in your bones. You have been standing at a window for years, watching for signs, watching for signals, watching for something to confirm that God did not forget your address. But the curtain stayed closed, the dawn stayed hidden, and the silence became its own kind of weight. Let me ask you something that might shake you. What if the silence was not absence? What if the silence was camouflage? What if God deliberately hid what was coming not from you, but from everything that was watching you? Because, chosen one, there are forces that monitor your movements. They study your patterns. They position themselves around your breakthrough, waiting to corrupt it, delay it, or destroy it before it lands. And God looked at what was assigned against you, and he made a decision. He went quiet on purpose. The years of delay that was not punishment. The doors that closed that was not rejection. The prayers that seemed to dissolve into the ceiling at 3 a.m. Those were never ignored. They were classified. You have been feeling it lately. That strange, unexplainable stirring. Nothing looks different, but something feels different. Like a train you cannot see yet, but the rails beneath your feet are already trembling. That trembling is not anxiety. That is arrival. Stay with me, because in this message I am going to show you 3 things that will change how you see everything. Why the move had to stay hidden, who and what is already on the way, and the one mistake that will make you misread a divine arrival when it happens. God does not always announce what he intends to protect. If this message found you at the right moment, write this right now. I will not miss my sudden shift. Don't go anywhere. The final revelation will be the one you needed most. Let me speak to something you have never said out loud. Not to your pastor, not to your children, not even to God, not fully. Because it felt too dangerous to say, too close to doubt, too honest for a person of faith. But you have thought it. In the quiet, in the dark, in the space between your last prayer and the next morning that looked exactly like the one before it. If God was really moving, wouldn't I see something by now? You have been faithful. You have held on. You have shown up when showing up cost you everything. And still the evidence you were waiting for never came. The confirmation never arrived. The people around you never understood what you were carrying. And slowly, quietly, without even realizing it, you started to wonder if maybe you had misread the whole thing. Maybe the promise was not for you. Maybe the season had passed. Maybe the silence meant exactly what it sounded like. Chosen one, I need you to stop right there. Because what you just described is not doubt. That is the exact condition that God has historically chosen to work inside of. Not around. Inside. Think about Joseph. 17 years old, carrying a God-given dream so vivid it felt like morning light in his hands. And then a pit, then a prison, then years of silence so thick you could press your hand against it. No angel appeared over the prison door, no handwriting on the wall, no burning bush, just walls, just waiting, just a boy becoming a man, inside the very hiddenness that God designed. Nobody in that prison knew they were looking at the future Prime Minister of Egypt. That was the point. David was anointed king while Saul still sat on the throne. Samuel poured the oil, the Spirit of God fell, and then David went back to the sheep, back to the fields, back to the obscurity. For years, he was already chosen, and nobody knew. The anointing was real, the throne was coming, but the timing belonged to God alone. And the gap between the anointing and the throne, that gap was not wasted space. That gap was where David learned to fight. And Jesus, the Son of God, spent 30 years in Nazareth. 30 years, sweeping sawdust off a carpenter's floor, eating bread at a common table, walking roads nobody was watching, the savior of all humanity hidden in plain sight. Because what was coming required preparation that could not be rushed, could not be advertised, could not be seen before it was ready. Here is the theology nobody teaches on Sunday morning. God often hides what hell has already noticed. Read that again. Let it land where it needs to land. If the enemy can see what is coming toward you, he positions himself to destroy it before it arrives. He studies your patterns. He sets up interference. He sends the right discouragement at the right moment, aimed precisely at the thing God is building in you. So sometimes, not always, but sometimes God pulls the blessing underground. He covers it. He conceals it. He lets it travel in silence because the assignment is too important to risk exposure before it is ready. Your silence was not abandonment. Your silence was a security protocol. Think about a photograph developing in a dark room. You cannot rush it. You cannot flood it with light before the image is set. Do that, and you destroy the picture entirely. The darkness is not the enemy of the photograph. The darkness is the requirement for it. Without that controlled, intentional darkness, there is no image. There is no beauty. There is nothing to show. Some of you have been in the dark room for years, and you have been pressing your face against the door, wondering why no one will let you out into the light yet. But chosen one, you are not forgotten in that room. You are developing. And for those of you who have lived long enough to feel the weight of decades, I need to say this directly to you, because no one else has said it the way it needs to be said. The long wait did not mean your life was winding down. It meant your life was being weighted with substance. There is a difference between furniture that is cheap and furniture built to last generations. The cheap piece ships fast. It arrives quickly. It looks fine for a season, and then it falls apart under real pressure. But the piece worth keeping, that one, is crafted slowly, joined carefully, covered with sheets until the day it is ready to be revealed. And when the sheets come off, everyone in the room goes quiet. Because what took time looks like nothing else in the room. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not a life that peaked too early and is now just filling time. You are covered furniture waiting on an unveiling. The weariness you have been carrying is not the sign that you are losing. It is the evidence that you have been carrying invisible preparation for longer than anyone around you knew. Not all exhaustion is defeat. Sometimes exhaustion means you have been doing sacred work in a realm no one could see. The silence was not empty. It was occupied by preparation. But I know what some of you are thinking right now. You are thinking, okay, I accept the hiddenness. I accept the delay. But then why did the pressure get worse? Why did things get heavier right when it felt like something was finally shifting? Stay with me, because what happens right before a divine arrival is the most misread moment in a chosen person's life. And if you misread it, you will walk away from the very door that was opening for you. You made it through the hook. You stayed. And that tells me something about you. It tells me you recognize that what is moving toward your life is real. You feel it. You cannot explain it to anyone sitting next to you. But something in your spirit has been leaning forward for weeks now, maybe months, like your soul already knows what your eyes cannot yet confirm. But here is what nobody warned you about. Right before the shift, it gets harder. Not easier. Not lighter. Not more peaceful. Harder. And if you are sitting somewhere right now carrying a heaviness, you cannot shake a fatigue that sleep does not fix, a discouragement that showed up out of nowhere and does not match your circumstances, then chosen one, I need you to hear what I am about to say like your life depends on it. Because it might. Here is the brutal truth that most people never get told. Opposition does not wait for the blessing to arrive before it attacks. Opposition senses movement before the natural eye sees anything, before the door swings open, before the phone rings, before the answer walks through. Before the shift becomes visible, something on the other side of the invisible already felt it coming, and it mobilized. Job 3:25 says it plainly. What I feared has come upon me. What I dreaded has happened. Fear is a signal, not always of danger, sometimes of proximity. The enemy does not waste ammunition on people going nowhere. He attacks the version of you that is about to arrive. Think about that. Sit with it for a moment. He is not attacking who you were last year. He is not fighting the version of you that was broken, confused, and barely hanging on. He is attacking the version of you standing on the other side of this season. The stronger one, the restored one, the one walking through an open door he cannot follow you through. That is who the pressure is aimed at. So when the heaviness showed up without explanation, that was not random. When old thoughts came crawling back from 5, 10, 15 years ago, thoughts you had already defeated, already buried, already left behind, that was not coincidence. When people who used to be in your corner suddenly started acting strange, distant, almost cold, that was not your imagination. And when you felt, deep in your chest, that unbearable urge to just stop, to put down what you have been carrying, to walk away from the very thing you have been praying for, chosen one, that urge did not come from God. That urge came from something that already saw what is on the way. There is a reason why the most intense labor pains come right before the birth. Not at the beginning, not in the middle, right before. When the mother is most exhausted, when her body screams that it cannot do this anymore. That is the moment the child is closest. There is a reason why the bowstring is pulled furthest back right before the arrow flies. The tension is not the failure. The tension is the force. Without it, the arrow does not travel. Without it, nothing is launched. There is a reason why oil does not rise until the pressure beneath the earth becomes unbearable. The pressure is not destroying what is underneath. The pressure is producing it. Now, let me speak directly to someone in this audience, because I know who is listening. You are not young. You have already survived things that would have destroyed people half your age. You buried grief that most folks never even have to face. You held families together with hands that were shaking. You showed up when showing up cost you everything. And somewhere along the way, you started asking a question you were almost too tired to say out loud. Why now? After everything I have already survived, why would it get this hard again? Here is your answer. Because the final stretch is where most people misread tension as failure. The enemy knows that. He has studied you. He knows that if he can get you to interpret this pressure as punishment, if he can convince you that the difficulty means God has stepped back, you will stop moving. You will sit down inside your own breakthrough. You will arrive at the edge of everything you have been waiting for and turn around because it looked too hard to be right. But you are not going to do that. Not today. Because Galatians 6-9 does not whisper. It declares, at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Not if you are perfect. Not if you are strong. Not if you have it all figured out. If you do not give up. That is the only condition. And you have already met it because you are still here. Now, I have been saying they are on the way. And you have been carrying that word in your spirit since this message started. A person, an answer, a door, a vindication, a role, a restoration, a release of something that has been delayed so long, it almost stopped feeling real. So let me ask you directly, who or what is they? Is it people, opportunities, assignments, divine intervention dressed in ordinary clothes? Comment right now. I will not quit in the final stretch, because the next section is going to open that word wide open, and what you discover about who is actually on the way may be the most important thing you have heard in years. Stay with me. We are just getting to the center of this. You asked the question. You wrote it down. You whispered it in the dark at 3 a.m. when nobody was listening. God, who is coming? What is coming? When? And heaven stayed quiet. But chosen one, That silence was not a closed door. That silence was a loading screen. And what has been loading, what has been assembling behind that curtain, is about to step through. So let me open this wide. Because they, whoever or whatever, is on the way to your life right now, may not look like what you expected. And if you walk into this next season with the wrong definition, you will miss the miracle because it arrived in a different outfit. Let me show you who they are. Sometimes they are people, not just any people. Not recycled disappointments wearing new faces. Not the same wounds wrapped in different names. I am talking about divine connections, human beings handpicked by heaven and routed directly to your address. The helper who appears at the exact moment your strength runs out. The friend who speaks the word you needed before you knew you needed it. The stranger who opens a door that 10 years of trying could not open. The reconciliation, and listen carefully here, not the manipulation from your past coming back to drain you, but a genuine restoration. One that arrives clean. One that arrives changed. Chosen one. Some of the people on their way to you were delayed because they were not ready. They had to go through their own fire before God could trust them near yours. Sometimes they are answers, not just relief, not just temporary comfort, but the actual answer to the question you stopped asking because asking hurt too much. Clarity. Peace that does not require explanation. Provision that shows up before the deadline, not after. An open door where you have been staring at a wall so long you forgot a door could exist there. You know what an answer looks like when it wears an unexpected face. It looks like one phone call that reverses everything, one conversation that resets the entire decade, one check, one diagnosis reversed, one decision made from a place of peace, not panic, that changes the entire trajectory of your remaining years. Do not underestimate the power of one. God specializes in the single moment that rewrites the entire story. Sometimes they are assignments. And this one is for the person who has been told they are too old, too late, too tired, too far behind the generation coming up behind them. Hear me clearly. There is a calling on your life that has been waiting for your maturity. It could not come at 35. It could not come at 50, because the weight of it required the wisdom that only comes from surviving what you survived. The anointing on your voice right now, today, in this season, is sharper, deeper, and more dangerous to darkness than it has ever been. The assignment on the way is not a burden. It is a vindication. It is heaven finally saying now you are ready to carry what I always intended for you. Sometimes they are consequences for those who harmed you. Not revenge. Release that word right now. Not bitterness, not retaliation, but truth arriving. Divine exposure. The kind that does not need your participation. The kind you do not have to engineer or orchestrate or explain. Proverbs 26:27 says it plainly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. You do not have to push anyone in. You just have to keep walking. Keep walking, chosen one. Because what was done in the dark is about to be brought into the light, and it will not require one word from your mouth. Your silence has been your dignity, and God has been your defense. And sometimes they are confirmations, the thing that finally tells you your suffering was not a mistake, your detour was not a dead end, the years that felt wasted were not wasted. They were working underground like roots you could not see, building a foundation strong enough to hold what is about to be placed on your life. Romans 8:28. Write it on the wall of your heart. All things work together for good to them that love God. Not some things, not the convenient things. All things, every closed door, every betrayal, every sleepless night, every prayer that felt unanswered, every year of silence. God was working all of it together simultaneously, strategically, surgically, into something you could not have designed on your own. What is on the way may not just change your situation. It may explain your entire season. That is the moment when the explanation arrives, that the tears finally make sense. When you stop asking why and start saying thank you. When the suffering transforms from a wound into a testimony, from a question into an answer. Chosen one, write this down somewhere. You will see it tomorrow morning. I am not too late for what God prepared. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you believe it, because heaven already does. But here is where it gets critical, because knowing that something is coming is only half the battle. The other half, the half that most people get dangerously wrong, is recognition. How do you know when it arrives? How do you tell the difference between a divine arrival and emotional desperation dressed up as hope? That is exactly where we are going next. And chosen one, you cannot afford to get this part wrong. Now listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you could save you from the most painful mistake a person can make at the threshold of their breakthrough. Not everything sudden is from God. Read that again. Let it land. Because here is what happens to people who have waited long enough, hurt deeply enough, prayed desperately enough. They become vulnerable. Not weak. Vulnerable. There is a difference. Weakness gives up. Vulnerability opens the door to the wrong thing because the right thing took too long to arrive. And the enemy knows exactly how long you have been waiting. He has studied your timeline. He knows the anniversaries of your disappointments. He knows which wounds never fully closed. And when he senses that God is finally moving in your direction, he sends a counterfeit first. Something that looks like the answer. Something that feels like relief. Something that fits the lock halfway, just enough to make you turn the key before you realize it was never meant for your door. Chosen one, a counterfeit key that fits halfway is more dangerous than no key at all. So how do you tell the difference? How do you recognize the real thing when it comes without signs, without rehearsal, without a burning bush in your living room? 3 filters. Burn them into your spirit. The first filter is peace beneath the intensity. God may move suddenly, but he does not move chaotically. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." That stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of order beneath the movement. When something is genuinely from God, even if it arrives fast, even if it arrives loud, there will be a bedrock of peace underneath it. Not comfort, not ease. Peace, the kind that Philippians 4:7 calls a peace that surpasses all understanding. You may not be able to explain it, but you will feel it holding you steady even in the middle of the storm of blessing. But when something is counterfeit, it rushes you, it panics you, it tells you there is no time to pray, no time to think, no time to ask God. It says, decide now because it is terrified of being tested. Chosen one, anything from heaven can survive your examination. Only counterfeits fear the light. The second filter is alignment with the person God built in secret. This one is personal, and it might sting a little. God spent years building something in you during the silence. Character, integrity, depth. The kind of person who could carry the blessing without being destroyed by it. And here is the truth that will separate the real from the fake. The right thing from God will strengthen who he formed in secret. It will not require you to compromise. It will not ask you to bend your values to make it work. It will not whisper that this one time, just this once, you can set aside what you know is right. Because God does not answer one prayer by destroying your integrity to do it. If something asks you to become smaller, quieter about your faith, looser with your convictions, someone slightly different than who you were on your knees at 2 a.m., that is not God completing his work in you. That is the enemy finishing his. The third filter, and this one is especially for those of you who have lived long enough to know better, but have been hurting long enough to forget. Many of you have wisdom, real wisdom. The kind you cannot buy and cannot fake. You have seen enough winters to know the difference between wind and a true change of season. Wind makes noise. Wind bends the branches. But it passes. A true change of season is quiet at first, barely noticeable. But then one morning you walk outside and something in the air is different permanently. You know this. Somewhere deep in your spirit you already know this. But pain blurs judgment, and loneliness has a way of making noise sound like music. So hear this pastoral warning spoken in love directly to your heart. Do not call every person who returns a divine answer. Do not call every emotional moment an open door. Do not call every fast opportunity a God opportunity just because the timing feels convenient. Because some things rush you not because they are from God, but because they cannot survive scrutiny. The right thing from God may come fast. It may arrive suddenly, breathtakingly, without warning. But it will not make you smaller. It will not shrink your faith. It will not dim your character. It will arrive, and it will feel like coming home to a version of yourself you always knew existed, but never fully met. That is the arrival. That is the real thing. Now pause, right where you are, and ask yourself one honest question. Have I been desperate for relief or ready for truth? Because those are two very different postures, and they attract two very different things. Desperation opens doors without checking what is on the other side. Readiness stands at the threshold with discernment and waits for the right name to be spoken. God knows your name, and when He speaks it over what is coming toward you, you will know. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part most people never see coming, the hidden pattern that causes good people to sabotage a divine arrival just seconds before it lands. You felt it, didn't you? Something shifted while you were listening. Something in your chest moved. And right now, right in this moment, there is a part of you that wants to believe this message is real. That wants to believe the arrival is genuine. That wants to say yes to what is coming. And there is another part of you, quieter, older, more scarred, that is already pulling back, already whispering, "Don't get your hopes up again." Chosen one, I need you to hear me clearly right now, because what I am about to say is the reason most people never fully receive what God actually delivers. The blessing does not always fail to arrive. People fail to receive it when it does. Think about that. Sit with it for just a moment. You have prayed for this. You have wept for this. You have held on through nights that had no business ending in morning, and yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still watching for what God promised. And now it is moving toward you. And your greatest danger is not the enemy outside. Your greatest danger is the agreement you made with disappointment somewhere along the way. The quiet contract you signed with yourself that said, "I will believe, but I will not fully trust. I will hope, but I will protect myself from hoping too much." That agreement, chosen one, is a door left cracked open for sabotage. Because here is what pain does over time. Pain is a brilliant teacher. Pain trains you to survive. Pain teaches your nervous system to brace, to guard, to anticipate the next blow before it arrives. And for many of you, that training saved your life. It kept you standing when everything tried to knock you flat. But survival training was never meant to become your permanent posture. And somewhere between the fighting and the enduring, you forgot how to simply receive. You know how to push through. You do not know how to rest in answered prayer. You know how to hold on. You do not know how to open your hands. You know how to survive the storm. But when the sun finally breaks through, you are still bracing for thunder. Proverbs 13:12 says it plainly, "Hope deferred makes the heart sick, and a sick heart, beloved, does not always recognize healing when it arrives. It mistakes the medicine for poison. It mistakes the open door for another trap." So let me name the sabotage patterns, because they are more common than you know, and they are more subtle than you expect. You talk yourself out of what you prayed for the moment it starts to look real. You choose the familiar pain over the unfamiliar healing, because at least the pain is something you understand. You reopen the doors God closed because silence on the other side felt safer than the unknown on this side. You react from unworthiness, shrinking back at the very moment heaven is saying step forward. You distrust peace because chaos has been your normal for so long That stillness feels suspicious. And this one is for those of you who have lived long enough to carry deep mileage. You whisper the most dangerous lie of all. At my age, something this significant just doesn't happen anymore. I need to stop right there and look you directly in the eyes. You are not disqualified by mileage. You are qualified by endurance. Do you understand what it means to still be standing after everything that tried to bury you? Do you understand what it took spiritually, emotionally, physically, to survive what you survived and still show up today, still hungry for God, still listening for His voice? Abraham was 75 years old when God called him into his greatest assignment. Sarah was 90 when she carried the promise in her body. Caleb was 85 years old when he stood before Joshua and said, "Give me this mountain." 85 years old. And he still wanted the mountain. Age in the kingdom of God is not subtraction. It is accumulation. Every year you endured added authority to your testimony. Every scar became a credential that no seminary could issue. But here is the piercing truth, the one that will either free you or sting you, depending on how honest you are willing to be right now. Some people do not miss the blessing because it never came. They miss it because pain trained them to distrust arrival. They slam the door on the very package they begged God to deliver. They uproot the seed because it took longer than expected to break ground. They leave the station bags packed, ticket in hand, 3 minutes before the train finally pulls in. Do not be that person. Not today, not after everything you have carried to get here. So what do you do right now, in this final stretch when arrival is close and sabotage is crouching at the door? You make a decision. Not a feeling, a decision. You tell your nervous system, which has been bracing for decades, that it is allowed to rest. You tell that guarded, protected, beautifully scarred heart of yours that it is safe to open. You tell the version of you that survived the worst, "Thank you for keeping me alive." Now, step aside. It is time to receive. If you refuse to sabotage what God is bringing, type this right now: "I receive without fear." And if this message is not just inspiring you, but stabilizing you, stay connected. Subscribe. Because some words are not entertainment, some words are architecture. They build something in you that holds when everything else shakes. Now stay with me, because what comes next reveals exactly who is on the way and why they were sent specifically to you. Let me speak to you directly now, not to the crowd, not to the room, to you. Maybe you have been sitting with a quiet question that you have never said out loud. Maybe you buried it so deep that you almost forgot it was there, but it surfaces in the still moments in the early morning before the house wakes up, in the silence after everyone leaves, in the space between one breath and the next. The question sounds something like this: is it too late for me? And chosen one, I need you to hear what I am about to say with every fiber of your being. That question is the enemy's most sophisticated lie, and he has been whispering it into the ears of God's most dangerous people. The ones who are dangerous not because they are young and loud and full of fire, but because they are seasoned, refined, stripped of ego, emptied of the need for applause, filled instead with something the world cannot manufacture and money cannot purchase. Wisdom, depth, spiritual weight, holy discernment. You spent decades being shaped. And right now the enemy is trying to convince you that the shaping was the whole story, that the furnace was your final destination, that because the breakthrough has not come yet, it simply is not coming. But that is not theology. That is a trap. Look at Moses. He spent 40 years in the wilderness not wandering, being made. He did not stand before Pharaoh at 30, he stood before Pharaoh at 80. Because God needed a man whose pride had been burned away, a man who no longer wanted the palace, a man who only wanted obedience. Look at Caleb, 85 years old, standing at the edge of his inheritance, declaring, "Give me this mountain, not give me rest, not give me a pension, give me the mountain," because the fire in him had not dimmed. It had focused. Look at Anna, a prophetess, 84 years old, who had served God in the temple through widowhood, through grief, through decades of faithful silence. And it was her, not the young priests, not the celebrated teachers, it was Anna who recognized the Messiah when he entered the room. Why her? Because only someone who has walked through that much darkness learns to recognize that kind of light. And Abraham, Sarah, receiving the impossible promise, not in their youth, but in the season when every human option had already expired, when the miracle could not be explained away, when the only possible credit went to God alone. Chosen one, do you see the pattern? God often waits until the vessel no longer wants the glory. Only then can he trust it with the weight. Now let me step into something that most preachers will not say out loud, because it requires going somewhere real, somewhere that might sting before it heals. You have carried grief in this season. Real grief. The kind that does not make it into Sunday morning testimonies. Dreams you set down so long ago you stopped calling them dreams. Family relationships that fracture quietly and never fully mend. Health scares that remind you every morning that time is not infinite. Financial pressure that follows you into sleep. Loneliness that can exist even inside a full room. And somewhere in the accumulation of all of that, you made a quiet agreement. You told yourself that your season for sudden change had already passed, that those promises were for someone younger, someone with more runway, someone who had not already spent so much. But what if that agreement was the only thing standing between you and your arrival? Because here is what nobody told you about old trees. Their roots go down 30 feet. You cannot see the work from the surface. But when the season turns, when the right conditions finally align, old trees do not produce small fruit. They produce deep fruit. Fruit that carries the mineral richness of decades of rooting. Fruit that younger trees simply cannot grow yet because their roots have not reached that far down. Your seasoned hands are not tired hands. They are anointed hands. Hands that have held enough sorrow to carry sacred oil without spilling it. Hands that have buried enough pride to be trusted with something holy. And this winter ground, this season that has felt cold and hard and unproductive, is not dead ground. It is ground where the deepest roots are preparing for the most stunning spring. The blessing was not late. It was being matched to the version of you that could finally hold it without wasting it. 20 years ago, you might have taken what is coming and spent it on the wrong things. On proving something, on impressing someone, on building monuments to your own name. But now you know what matters. Now you know whose name is worth building for. Now you have the soul the blessing was always waiting for, and that is exactly why it is arriving now. Not despite your age, because of it. Not despite what you have lost, because of what the losing made you. Not despite the wait, because the wait was the final preparation. If you are still here, if something in your chest just shifted even slightly, I need you to do something bold right now. Say it out loud, right where you are sitting. My later years are still anointed. Say it like you mean it, because heaven is listening. And chosen one, now that you know why this is happening in this season, there is one more thing you need to understand. Something even more urgent, because knowing the timing is only half the revelation. The other half is recognizing the signs and making sure you do not misread what God is sending when it finally walks through your door. You made it past the hook, and I need you to understand something right now. That was not accident. That was assignment. Because what I am about to tell you most people will never hear. Not because it is hidden in some ancient vault, but because most people scroll past the very moment God is trying to stop them. You stayed. And that matters more than you know. Now let me ask you something honest, something that might quietly shake you. Have you noticed lately that certain things just do not fit anymore? Not your clothes, not your shoes. I mean the life you used to wear comfortably, the conversations, the distractions, the relationships, the old version of what you called normal. It has started to feel like a coat 2 sizes too small, tight in all the wrong places, suffocating in ways you cannot fully explain to another person. And nothing new has arrived yet to replace it. That gap, that uncomfortable in-between that is not a crisis, that is a threshold. Let me show you what is actually happening inside you right now. The people you used to call every day, some of them feel strangely distant now. Not because of a fight, not because of betrayal, just distance, like a natural tide pulling back from a shore. And you have felt guilty about it, wondering if something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. God is repositioning your circle before He repositions your life. Proverbs 13:20 says it plainly, walk with the wise and become wise. But here is what nobody preaches on Sunday morning. Sometimes God has to loosen certain hands from yours before He can place the right ones there. Not with drama, not with argument, just release. And you have been feeling that release. There is something else. Those old triggers, the things that used to send you spiraling, the situations that would have wrecked your entire week 6 months ago, lately your reaction is different, quieter, more settled, like something deep inside you has stopped taking the bait. That is not numbness. That is maturity arriving ahead of the blessing. Because God never sends a harvest to someone still being destroyed by the storms that used to shake them. He builds stillness in you first. He builds roots before He releases fruit. And your roots, chosen one, are going deeper than you realize. You have been craving silence lately, haven't you? Not depression, not withdrawal, just stillness. A deep, almost holy hunger to be quiet, to sit, to breathe, to feel something without immediately explaining it away. That hunger is not weakness. That is your spirit making room. Isaiah 30:15 says, in quietness and confidence shall be your strength. God does not shout instructions at people who are about to cross over. He whispers them, and He is only audible to the ones who have stopped filling every moment with noise. Here is what I need you to hear very carefully. The first evidence of your sudden shift, the very first sign, will probably disappoint you in its smallness. It will not be a vision. It will not be a thunderclap. It will not be a check in the mailbox or a headline with your name on it. It might be a phone call from a name you had not thought about in years. It might be a thought that breaks through at 6 in the morning, that feels too specific to be random. It might be a door closing, finally, completely on something that held emotional power over you for a decade. And in that closing, instead of grief, you feel peace. That peace is not resignation. That peace is confirmation. Like the air shifting 20 minutes before the rain. You cannot see it yet. But your skin knows. Everything in the natural world knows. The atmosphere has changed before the first drop ever falls. Or like that moment you have had it before when a lock clicks in a door. Just one sound, small, almost nothing. But that single click means the whole door is about to swing open. The click came first. The opening follows. The first sign of sudden change is never noise outside you. It is alignment inside you. And the alignment is already happening. It was happening before you found this video. Before you pressed play. Before you even knew what to call it. The pain you have been carrying, the years of it, the weight of it, something is shifting inside that pain right now. It is slowly, almost imperceptibly, becoming perspective. You are starting to see the valley from an angle you never had before. Not because the valley has changed, because you are rising. And that is the sign nobody talks about. When your wounds start turning into wisdom, when the story you almost did not survive starts feeling like the very thing that qualified you, you are not going backward anymore. You are being positioned. Sudden external movement almost always follows a long, invisible, internal rearrangement. The rearrangement is your part. The sudden is God's part, and He is never late. So, let me ask you directly, and answer this honestly, just between you and God. Have you felt it? that quiet, unexplainable shift inside your chest, that strange coexistence of exhaustion and awareness, that sense that something is different, even though nothing looks different yet. If you have felt that inner shift lately, leave it right here in the comments. Just 3 words. I feel the alignment. Because here is what comes next, and this is where it gets deeply personal. Now that you know the signs are real, now that you recognize the repositioning happening inside you, there is one question that changes everything. What must you do in this very season to make sure you do not sabotage the arrival that is already on its way? You have been waiting for a sign, and what I need to tell you right now, what heaven needs you to hear before another hour passes, is that the sign was never coming first. The move was. This is where most people lose it. Not in the battle, not in the wilderness, not in the long, hard years of delay. They lose it right here, right at the edge of arrival, because they spent so long waiting for a dramatic signal that when heaven finally began to move quietly, practically, without theater, they missed it entirely. They were looking at the sky when God was already rearranging the room. Chosen one, I need you to hear this like your future depends on it, because it does. When heaven is about to move in your life, your assignment is not to perform. It is not to preach louder, pray longer, or convince everyone around you that something is happening. Your assignment is to stand, clean, clear, ready. And standing, real standing, looks nothing like what most people expect. First, get spiritually clear. The noise around you right now is not accidental. Confusion, drama, endless opinions, people pulling you in 10 directions at once. That is not just life. That is interference. The enemy cannot stop what is coming, so he floods your atmosphere with static, because a cluttered spirit misses what a clear one catches instantly. Reduce the noise. Step back from the conversations that drain you without feeding you. Protect your inner atmosphere like it is sacred ground, because it is. Proverbs 4:23 says it plainly. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Everything. Your decisions, your discernment, your ability to recognize a divine arrival when it walks through the door. If your heart is full of noise, you will second-guess the very moment God built your whole life toward. Second, stop chasing confirmation from everyone. This one is going to sting, and I need it to. How many times have you felt something move in your spirit, something real, something sacred, and then you picked up the phone and handed it to the wrong person? And their doubt became your doubt. Their hesitation became your hesitation. And a living word from God died in a 5-minute conversation with someone who was never meant to carry it. Some things are not confirmed by public approval. They are confirmed by peace. That deep, unreasonable, unexplainable peace that Paul described in Philippians 4-7, the peace that passes all understanding. That peace is God's signature. It does not need a committee vote. Third, release what is expired. Not every old door deserves one more conversation. Not every closed chapter deserves one more attempt to reopen it. There are attachments you are still carrying, relationships, opportunities, identities that God already closed the book on. And every time you reach back for them, you slow down what is trying to reach forward to you. The hallway cannot be cleared while you are still standing in it, holding old furniture. Let it go. Not because it did not matter, but because what is coming matters more. Fourth, watch your mouth. This is urgent. Your words right now are either building a landing strip or tearing one up. Every time you say, nothing ever changes, you are cursing the very ground where your harvest is about to break through. Every time you say, I knew it wouldn't work, you are speaking against the prayer your own spirit has been crying out at 3 inches the morning. Romans 4:17 says, God calls things that are not as though they were. That is your model, not denial, not pretending, but deliberate, faith-filled agreement with what God has already decreed. Your mouth should not curse what your spirit has been praying for. Fifth, prepare practically. Answer the email you have been avoiding. Organize the space. Return the call. Make room at the table before the guest arrives. Trim the lamp before the night falls. Clear the hallway before the knock comes. Because here is the truth that separates those who receive from those who watch others receive. Preparation is an act of faith. You do not prepare because you doubt. You prepare because you believe. When you make practical space for what God promised, you are telling heaven with your actions what your words alone cannot fully say. You are saying, I am not just hoping, I am expecting. That expectation lived out in quiet, practical, daily obedience is what makes you ready when sudden becomes now. And sudden will become now, not with trumpets, not with a dramatic pause in your circumstances. It will arrive the way dawn arrives, not all at once, but unmistakably. One moment it is dark. The next moment you cannot remember why you ever doubted the light was coming. Sixth, refuse panic. Sudden does not mean unstable. God is not chaotic. What feels like it is happening fast has been in preparation for years. You are not being rushed. You are being released. Stand still in that truth. Breathe it in, because the God who planned this move planned it with you in mind, your capacity, your history, your readiness. He does not send what he has not prepared you to carry. So after this message ends, take one practical step, just one. Answer something you have been avoiding. Clear something that has been cluttered. Say something in faith you have been afraid to say out loud. One step that declares to heaven and to hell, I believe God is still moving in my life. Because the deepest truth of this entire message, the one that changes everything, is still waiting ahead. And you are not going to want to miss it. Chosen one, I need you to hear this next part, not just with your ears. Hear it with every scar, every sleepless night, every prayer you whispered into a ceiling that felt like concrete. Every morning you got dressed and showed up anyway, when nobody knew how much it cost you just to stand. Because this final word is not for the comfortable. It is not for the ones who never had to fight to believe. This word was written in heaven specifically for the ones who almost didn't make it and made it anyway. Stay with me, because what I am about to tell you will reframe every single year you thought was wasted. You have been asking the wrong question. You have been asking, when is it coming? But heaven has been answering a different question entirely. Heaven has been answering, who will be ready to receive it? And that is where everything changes. What is on the way toward you right now is not simply coming to your address. It is not just headed to your zip code, your front door, your situation. It is coming to meet the version of you that survived, the you that was forged in silence, the you that nobody saw being built, the you that God was constructing in the hidden years while the world kept moving and you kept wondering if you had been forgotten. Psalm 139:15 says, My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place. Chosen one, God has never once lost sight of what he was building inside you. The silence was not empty. It was a workshop. The delay was not denial. It was architecture. The pressure you felt that was not proof of abandonment. That was the weight of glory being shaped into something your hands could finally carry. And those later years, those gray, quiet, heavy years that the world told you were your disqualification, hear me, they were your deepest preparation. Joel 2:25 thunders, I will restore to you the years the locust has eaten. Not some of the years, not the convenient years, all of them. Every year that felt stolen, every season that felt silent, every decade that felt like it was slipping through your fingers, God already signed the restoration papers. The verdict was spoken before you ever walked into the courtroom. Now let me ask you something that might shake the ground beneath you. What if the reason it has not arrived yet is not because God is slow, but because what is coming is so significant? It required every single one of those hard years to make you strong enough to carry it without dropping it. Sit with that for one moment, because here is the truth that will either break you open or set you completely free. It will feel sudden to you because you lived in time, but it was not sudden to God. He had already set it in motion while you were still learning how to survive. While you were in that hospital room, He was already walking toward you. While you were sitting at that kitchen table crying over finances, He was already walking toward you. While you buried someone you loved and wondered how you would ever breathe normally again, He was already walking toward you. Like dawn that does not ask permission before it steps into the room, like a curtain rising after the orchestra was already in place, already tuned, already positioned, already ready. You just could not hear them yet. The footsteps were always coming. You just could not hear them yet. And when it arrives, and chosen one, it will arrive. You will not need to manufacture excitement. You will not need to hype yourself into belief. You will simply recognize it. The way you recognize a voice you have been waiting to hear. The way early light feels familiar even on the darkest morning. You will know. And in that moment of knowing, every question you ever carried will exhale out of you all at once. Because the right thing can still arrive. After everything, it can still arrive. The right people can still find you. The right peace can still settle over your house like morning dew over ground that endured the frost. The right assignment can still awaken a voice in you that fear spent years trying to mute. The right vindication, the kind that does not require your anger or your revenge, can still unfold exactly the way heaven designed it. And the right season can absolutely still begin after a very long night. Isaiah 60:1 commands, "Arise, shine, for your light has come." Not arrive eventually, not shine when you feel ready. Arise, now. Chosen one, they are on their way. And when it arrives, you will understand with absolute clarity that this was never the end of your story. It was the sound of God getting closer. If this word spoke directly to your spirit, write this right now. I am ready for what God set in motion. Share this with someone who has been walking through a long, silent season. Someone who needs to know that the silence was never abandonment. It was camouflage for something sacred. And stay rooted, because some arrivals do not begin with noise. They begin with recognition.